Welcome to Under Two Capes News. I'm your host, Jared, and today we got some Loki discussion to get done with. So we're starting off talking about the big reveal, spoiler alert, the big reveal is that with the finale of Loki, they introduced the multiverse, which it was inevitable that they were going to do this at some point. So this article comes up, Kevin Feige is saying they have a plan with the multiverse and everything, and they have rules. Now, let's talk about the multiverse. So basically, first introduction, what is the multiverse? Think of the multiverse as the idea that there are all these different worlds that are just like each other, only slightly different. Like, let me put it this way. Now, conceivably, the Ang Lee Hulk movie is canon. It happened. It just happened on a different world. Conceivably, there's a world where the X-Men are the only superheroes in the on Earth. In other words, in the X-Men movies, there's a world where let's see what else. Basically, it's an idea. It's the idea that like all these different movies work. They're connected and that they exist in the same like multiverse. That's basically the idea. You can see any of our DC videos on Under Two Capes about the multiverse. So Loki introduced that, and I find that's pretty interesting about this. So now we're going to talk about, I'm going down to when they talk about the multiverse. Okay. We started recording the multiverse. Okay. So he continued it, and I had this meeting this morning with the broad Marvel Studios team. This is Kevin Feige talking, going through the multiverse and the rules of the multiverse and exactly how to really deliver on the excitement surrounding the multiverse. Because conceivably and based upon the What If trailer, they're really like jumping into the whole idea about how there is a multiverse and we're going to really invest in it. Because like so much of Marvel that is a topic. When we first had Sam Jackson, everyone's like, "Oh man, this is so cool." Feige then relayed the history of the multiverse in the MCU, and the same way the multiverse is something that we geek out about and we really love all the storytelling potential it brings. But that we really had to slowly dole out what it was and introduce the conceit even briefly in Doctor Strange and then as a fake out in the Spider-Man Far From Home. And yes, this is what I've been saying that both Marvel and DC have to do, since it was very apparent last year that Marvel and DC really wanted to introduce the multiverse to their movie worlds. Now, I think Marvel has a better plan than DC does, regardless, what Feige was doing was the right way to do this, which you have to do since the multiverse is a really confusing concept for non-comic book readers to like understand and grasp. You want to do it in pieces. First, they talk briefly. They briefly mention Doctor Strange that there's a multiverse, and then in Far From Home, Mysterio's like cover to make Peter Parker believe he's there to help is that I'm from another Earth, so I'm here to help you. You're on Earth 616, which that's actually pretty cool. It's more than just the fans following along about the multiverse storyline. It's really quite exciting to see, even to see it midway through the Loki series. Now, as people respond to the possibilities, yeah, because when you look at Loki was basically a multiverse show because all these are different versions of Loki. This is a Loki this is a classic Loki from the comics. He's the one who survived the Thanos attack. This is Kid Loki. This is the boastful Loki. So what this provides is an opportunity to like really embark on like changing a lot of the different characters and like providing an increased creative freedom, because if you want to bring in certain actors, you can just say, hey, multiverse, and this allows you to make like an X-Men movie or something like that. And if you want to bring in the mutants, what you can do is that, so according to what I'm aware of, Doctor Strange 2 is going to deal with the multiverse, and that's a way that they can factor into the mutants, into the MCU, into the larger MCU. They can just say that like at some point they established it's gonna be like a post-credit scene or something like that. That as a result of the movie, certain things about our world are changed. Like now there's mutants. There you go. That's how you do that. And then so the here he who remains, that was pretty obviously Kang, because he even referred to himself as a conqueror, and it's played by the same dude who was cast in what in the Ant-Man 3 movie, Quantum Mania, I think it's called, as that. And here's a picture of the branching timelines with the branching multiverse. You even have different galaxies here. So really what I think Marvel's doing is so they took time to slowly develop the idea of a multiverse, and now they're starting to really actually establish the groundwork behind it, which I appreciate that a lot. I think it's a great idea. I think that the way they're doing it now works, because you can do with the what if, because the what if is when they can really start getting into the nitty gritty on what a multiverse is. And then and that can really like serve as sort of a primer on what the multiverse is, because once again, it's a really confusing concept if you're not like as ensconced in comic books as we all are, or if you don't like watch all the movies and understand all this. And once again, let me see. Okay, so now there's a thing that I saw on Twitter about people were saying that Marvel was the first to establish the multiverse. That's actually not true, because if you watch the first Flash show, I mean, not the first Flash show, but one of the Flash episodes for Crisis on Infinite Earths, Grant Gust and Barry Allen met Ezra Miller, Barry Allen, and according to Jim Lee, that actually is canon in the movie universe as well, that actually happened. So that's how he gets the idea for the Flash, new costume and such. So DC actually did do the multiverse in the movies first. It's just like Marvel's the first one that's really capitalizing on it and they actually have a plan, in other words, unlike what Ann Sarnoff would make you believe. The way that Warner Brothers has been doing the multiverse, and I hope Discovery changes this, is it's okay. Any world is okay except for Zack Snyder, but that's beyond the point. The point is we're going to get a lot of multiverse content, because we have Doctor Strange, and then we also have the Flash. So both sides are doing a movie that deals with the multiverse, which will be really fun to check out. I think it's about time they brought up the multiverse, because why not? And now I think people can, this way, people can understand the concept of the Infinity Gauntlet and the gems. I don't think it's really hard to understand the multiverse. Anyway, that's what I got for tonight. Hope I'll see you guys this weekend for Under Two Capes, and stay heroic.